Hello, 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 and welcome to week 4 of the Sticky Changes Challenge, our final week. How have you found it so far? We've looked in the last 3 weeks at different ways that we can apply these principles or laws of behavior change from the book Atomic Habits by James Clear. How can we apply them to the habits that we committed to at the start of the challenge so that we could really get these habits and these changes stuck and really laid down as things that we would stick in our lives and we would be able to carry on for the rest of the year and going forward. And I found it very interesting, and it's been really enjoyable to go through working through these different principles and all the tips and tricks that James Clear puts in his book that we can apply. I hope that you found it to be useful too. So let's go straight into this week's principle, which is the last one, and it's make it satisfying. And again, going back to this very familiar diagram, the habit loop, make it satisfying is about the reward. So every other principle has been about the cue, the craving, the response. This is about the reward. It's about making it so satisfying to do the behavior you've chosen that you just want to do it. You just want to keep doing it again and again because the reward is just so satisfying. And the important thing is to reward yourself immediately. Okay, but choose a reward that matches with the identity you're trying to create. So it's sometimes a challenge because you might want to pick a reward so let's use the example of if I've had a good week on my new eating plan, I reward myself because I've really worked hard this week. I reward myself with a cheat day. But sometimes those cheat days end up, negating all the work you've done all week long. It depends on how you do it, but some people really go out overboard with their cheat day, quote unquote. So sometimes it's thinking about, well, actually, can I reward myself in a different way? If the identity I'm trying to create is the kind of person who eats healthily, most of the time, is what I'm doing on my cheat day really reinforcing that identity or going against it? Can I choose a different type of reward that matches the identity I'm trying to create and reward myself in a way that reinforces that identity and does it immediately? So you can think about different things that you might want to do. Or I might reward myself when I've eaten this way, eating healthily for 30 days in a row. I might reward myself with a new cookbook that helps me learn how to cook more healthily. I might reward myself with going out to a restaurant that I've never been to before that allows me to choose different types of healthy options. Just really thinking creatively about how you can reward yourself while reinforcing the identity that you're trying to create. And then habit tracking, because actually it helps us to really visually see what we're doing. Then you can say to yourself, I'm just going to keep the streak. I'm not going to break this streak. And if I do miss, I'll never miss twice. A habit tracker can be something as simple as just a calendar, and you just mark off the days with a pen every time you do the habit. It can be, certainly there are much more complicated ones, and you can find various versions online. I think there's one that is at the back of the Atomic Habits book as well. But why habit tracking is so useful is that, one, it keeps you honest. So for instance, you can sometimes, when you're trying to remember, like food journaling, you're trying to think, you don't do it straight away, but you think about it and then try and remember at the end of the week. Most of the time you unconsciously write down what you think makes you look good. I don't know, maybe that's just me. But that's often what happens. It's just the way our brains work. But when you track, especially if you track quite close to when you do the actual behavior, keeps you honest. If you put it up, and it's helpful to put up your tracker somewhere where you can see it easily, because then it also provides a visual cue. Oh, I haven't done that today, or I need to get that done, before I go to bed, or whatever. It helps you remember that you need to get something, that you've got a box to tick that hasn't happened yet. It is also a good measure of your progress. It helps you to see, wow, look, I've managed to keep this streak for 3 weeks. Or on days when maybe you feel like things aren't going well, maybe you missed a day and you want to give up. You think, oh, I'm not good. I've given up, or I've fallen off the wagon. But then you look at how much you've actually accomplished so far, and that motivates you to keep going, because you're like, okay, I managed to do 3 weeks. I missed one day, but I won't miss twice. I'll get back on it, and get this habit stuck in. And certainly it feels satisfying. I love being able to tick a box on my tracker to say, "Oop, I've done it." It just feels really good. And that's what this is about, is to make it satisfying. So I'm going to send in the email you're going to get. You'll have a habit tracker that's from James Clear's website. I'll send that along for you to have a look at and perhaps see if that's going to be useful to you in tracking your habits. Because that's going to be something you don't have to track your habit forever, obviously. But while you're still trying to establish it, or for all those reasons that we've talked about, it will be helpful to you to just track your habits and keep an eye on how things are going. So, what are you going to do to make your habits satisfying this week? Head over to the Facebook group and let us know. The last 4 weeks, I've learned so much. Even though this is material I've gone over before myself quite more than once, but journeying through it with you, picking a habit I wanted to work on for me, which was journaling every night, and applying these principles to that habit, and just seeing how it is possible to form new habits. Old dogs can learn new tricks, and I'm not old. But it is possible for us to learn new habits and to stick to them, just using some of these principles that James Clear has written in this book. So I hope you've had a good 4 weeks. I hope you've enjoyed doing this challenge. I would love to get your feedback now that we've come to the end of the challenge. If you can either post your feedback in the Facebook group, or you can email us at info@parakletuslife.co.uk. Let us know how things have gone. If you would have liked to see some things done differently, we'd love to hear from you. So please feel free to message us directly by email or on the Facebook group. Right. That brings us to the end. It's been great having you and journeying along with you. Hope to see you soon on the Facebook group, or maybe in another one of our courses or webinars. Take care. Bye.